final analysis, I'll be speaking about black trash, sadism, masochism, objectification, and other great notions that we read in a textbook and discussed in class. As you remember, Charles Mills mentions the notions, stereotypes, complexities, and discourses that helps identify an individual as black in America. Charles Mills makes a clear distinction or differentiates between the definitions of black and white in early English Oxford dictionaries. In these descriptions, black is connoted to inferior, dark, or contaminated, while whiteness is synonymous to purity or perfection. Blacks are seen as unfitting and inferior to the citizenry or the body politic in this times or era. The latter arguments have not been a phenomenon of recent times, but one of which was embedded into the social contract by the others like philosophers like Locke, Kant, and others validated that blacks were unfit to the body politic, and also Western civilization regarded other civilizations that were outside of Europe as the antithesis of modernity. White Caucasians, according to falsifiable scientific methods like eugenics and the social contract, made invalid arguments about themselves being more of more of the intellectual people or geniuses of the times, and so being more rational in their actions than other people. Whites could not be judged for whatever they did, however, blacks could. And so, taking advantage of this discourse, of this notion, foundational ideologies and policies made disenfranchised races that were not white, so races outside of the white race, and instead. Dr. Gordon Lewis asserts that the reason why blacks are considered a contamination is because of slavery's influence on their identities. He uses the term sadism and masochism in his explanation. In his writing on how blacks are invincible, he explained masochists as being hyper-aware of themselves and what society thinks about them. And he also describes sadists as people who are not fully in tune with themselves, but however wants everyone to see them as a subject or as a point of attention. In part, I do not agree with Gordon's description of how hypervisibility can affect one's race or can affect the black race to be unseen for other abilities. From our class discussions, I believe people, regardless of race, should be seen for their substance, intellect, and an example that Keegan gave was very descriptive of this manner, how African American professors normally seem to claim their titles than white professors do because of how society doubts their intellect sometimes. To control the black epidemic of contamination, policies were used by authorities in the United States to achieve this goal. Many critics say that the end of slavery and civil rights movement redeemed African Americans, but it is not so, because chain gangs came, convict labor came, and exploited many African American families as it broke homes. And currently, Michelle Alexander puts it right when she says the new Jim Crow is the leading cause of broken homes and broken families in the American ghetto or the African American neighborhood. The effects on the war on drugs took a toll on predominantly African American communities and neighborhoods and destroyed their livelihoods. Instead of using rehabilitative system, capitalism and environmental racism was used against African Americans to get rid of this supposed trash or this supposed contamination. Some African Americans in retaliation have chose not to work or not to follow laws that are made to scrutinize or oppress them even today. By choice, some of these individuals decide not to pay taxes to a system that does not protect their well-being. However, politicians like Reagan have made bad statements or very generalized statements about African American women being welfare queens, being thugs, being lazy, and being government dependent. However, Papadaki explains how the access to the job market is very different and how objectification as a norm has been used by the system against African Americans. Objectification, like the analogy of the black trash by Mills and Gordon, show that blacks are put into a box category. The box category only sees African Americans as a threat to society or as an antithesis. These negative stereotypes associated with such individuals stagnate their contributions they can make to the country's development since they do not see themselves as a part of it. In order for the body politic to be united, victimization should be cut down, and African Americans, who some of which some are doing so, are using victimization to empower themselves through art and through other forms of representation. Currently, rappers like Kendrick Lamar have been at the forefront of battling stereotypes and also talking about how black trashiness or black contamination is a thing of the past and an illusion that only seeks to undermine the black court, the contribution the black culture or the black body politic has made to the American society. Thanks.